with Tim Gilbert and Julie Snook. This is Racing Dreams.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Dreams. Is it a pleasure to have your company on this Saturday morning? I am flying solo today, but my mate Timmy will be back with me trackside next week because in 1 week we will be at Royal Randwick for the running of the 2022 Tapp Everest. But in the meantime, we have a great show coming up for you today. Let's take a look. The stars come out to play for the annual Everest Carnival Fashion Lunch as the official Everest celebrations kick off. He was all smiles after the premiere, and rightly so. Lost and running trainer OShea joins us live ahead of the Everest. And how taking a chance on the Japanese thoroughbred is paying off for Arrowfield. Well, it's been another big week of Everest news, and 1 week out, safe to say there is never a dull moment when it comes to this concept. The last remaining slot to be filled for the Everest now belongs to Godolphin, who have a matter of days to decide ahead of Tuesday's barrier draw. The Kieran Maher and David Eustace trained snap dancer is out due to injury, with Inglis quickly selecting Private Eye as their runner. James Harron picked up undefeated 3-year-old Giga Kick for his Everest slot through the week, while the rest of the field, if we quickly go through the graphic there, remains unchanged. Well, as I said, disappointment for Inglis earlier in the week with their Everest runner snap dancer forced out of the race due to a hoof injury. But in the words of Inglis themselves, every cloud has a silver lining. That silver lining comes in the form of 5-year-old gelding Private Eye, who in 1 week will line up in the $15 million Tapp Everest. Joining me now is his trainer Joe Pride and Inglis Bloodstock Chief Executive Sebastian Hutch. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Morning, Julie. How are you?
Good morning, Julie.
I am very well. Joe, first of all, how are you? Congratulations. You now have 2 runners in the world's richest race on turf. How does it feel?
Yeah, look, it's a big thrill in a smallish anyway sort of stable. We have about 50 horses in work, and very proud of the team and our connections to get the 2 horses in there, and certainly not making up the numbers. We've got 2 very good horses, the 2 best horses in my stable at the moment, and 2 of the best horses I've ever trained indeed. So.
Sebastian, he was brilliant first up in the Gilgai Stakes at Flemington last week. As soon as that race concluded, there was talk about the Everest. How quickly did you think that this is a horse that deserves an Everest spot?
Well, ultimately, Julie, when we watched the race, we were a bit worried because we thought that was a horse we were going to have to try and beat with Snap Dancer. He was really impressive at Flemington. We still had Snap Dancer in the race at that stage. But unfortunately, that hasn't worked out. She's not quite right, going to be quite right for the race. So when the opportunity came up to have a conversation with Jamie Walter of Proven Thoroughbreds about running Private Eye, he was very receptive to having a conversation. And ultimately, we got to a point where on Thursday we were happy to do a deal. And now we're here with the horse ready to go.
We're just having a look at that race again now. Joe, what did you make of it? How did Snap Dancer pull up? And I suppose the big, not Snap Dancer, I should say, how did Private Eye pull up? And I suppose the next question is, who will ride him in the Everest?
Yeah, so Brenton Abdullah is going to take the ride. He's ridden him on several occasions. I was just really pleased to see him return that way. He'd run an unlucky second in the Stradbroke during the winter, and that was his first up run. He's always been a horse he's always been a good horse, but he's a Group 1 winner, very strong through the line, and I think that's what's required for the kind of race we're going to have next week, high pressure race. He's a quality horse. He's got an amazing turn of foot, and yeah, that won't be astray. Next week, as I say, he'll really need that.
A quality horse, and looks to be a very relaxed horse behind you there this morning as well. What's the temperament like on this guy?
He is. Yeah, he's quite arrogant at times, and he's really casual and laid back. In his track work, very lazy. Had a lot of good horses like that, and I don't mind that at all. They're sort of saving themselves for when it counts. But a good personality, very strong, very dominant, and does think a lot of himself.
Well, that's what you want to hear a week out from the world's richest race on turf. Sebastian, where do you see Private Eye in this year's field, given there is such a lot of speed in this race?
Yeah, look, I think as Joe said, the horse's race pattern really suits the race. We're expecting there to be a lot of pressure. You have a horse like Nature Strip, Joyful Fortune, Eduardo like to force the pace, and it looks like there's going to be genuine tempo right the way through the race. I think that suits a horse like Private Eye, who has traditionally had a booming finish. It's going to be a really stiff test. Obviously the horse has proven himself at 1,400 metres in a mile, so I think that'll really suit him. And ultimately, we're hoping the horse is steaming down the outside over the top of them and getting very close to winning.
Joe, how is the next week ahead for you and your team? We know Everest Week, it is full of events, full of media opportunities, full of hype. What do you and the team do moving forward for the next 7 days?
Yeah, look, it's more of the same for us. We've got these horses' routines down pat. They're older horses. They're very settled in their routines. I'll try and keep them out of the limelight as much as I can. A little bit like that for myself as well, if I can avoid it. But I'll be on the harbour for the draw. I don't mind being there. But yeah, just as I say, more of the same. Got a quality team around these horses. We just don't want any hiccups. We want everything to go smoothly, and it's an exciting week. I've been in the Everest for the last couple of years, and this should be double the fun this year with the two runners.
Well, Sebastian, speaking of the barrier draw, it takes place on Tuesday night. Has it been discussed who will be making that draw? And in an ideal world, where would you like to see Private Eye draw?
We discussed it with Joe on Thursday. I suppose we have an idea of where we'd like to sit. I'd like to sit and try and find a middle number somewhere between 5 and 8. I think it'd be ideal. Obviously, it's the luck of the draw, so we're not going to blame anybody if things don't work out quite the way we wanted to. But hopefully we can just draw a good gate and the horse can get a good clean run through the race. He's got the ability to be competitive, there's no dispute about that, and ultimately it comes down to who's best on the day.
It is such an exciting week, and it is such an exciting time for you and your stable, Joe. Congratulations to runners in this year's Everest, and well done to you, Inglis, as well, for snapping up a serious contender. Sebastian Hutch, Joe Pride, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Julie.
Thanks very much, Julie.
Well, a week out from the Everest, and Nature Strip remains firm favourite to claim back-to-back victories. We caught up with trainer Chris Waller earlier in the week for an update on the reigning champ.
Everything's going to plan with Nature Strip. He's had a good first up run. Obviously, he flew the flag for Australia and New Zealand in England, and to come back and perform so well, it was great. We know where he is, and he had a nice piece of work on Tuesday morning. James McDonald was aboard. He was very happy with him. So just keep him ticking over. Probably one more serious piece of work early in the week, and then just try and keep calm for the big day. All I can tell you is he's got great confidence. He's very well, and if he could repeat what he did last year, it'd take a very good horse to beat him. When you've got the footy season stopped, Melbourne starting, Sydney's really flying the flag, and people are noticing, and everybody's asking me, what's this Everest? Is it as big as the Melbourne Cup? It's worth more money. Where does it rate in your opinion? So, as I said, everyone's got their opinion, but it's a race that's really captured the imagination.
Some breaking news in the racing world this morning, with champion mare Winx giving birth to a healthy little filly. The mare's owners, including Peter Ty and Debbie Kapitas, announced the news to the media this morning, with the filly by Piero born yesterday. Now, we are told both mum and foal are healthy and doing very, very well. So it's an exciting new chapter for the mighty mare who captured our hearts, and now she's starting her role as a mother. Well, the official Everest celebrations kicked off this week with the Australian Turf Club showcasing the finest fashion, entertainment and hospitality at the stunning Everest Carnival Fashion Lunch. We went along to check it out.
Tell you how exciting today is. There's some stunning people here in a stunning room at a beautiful location at Royal Randwick. This room is just amazing.
Sam, how nice is it to be out and about and have everyone back in one room again?
I know, it's lovely to be out and about. It's been such a long time coming. I love the Everest Carnival. I love the fashion. I definitely love the racing. So it's a great day to be out.
We globally have the best racing in the world, a $66 million carnival with the $15 million Everest, and we're still raising money and doing great things for Spinal Cure today.
Post-COVID, we wore our trackies, we wore our neutrals, so let's have fun, let's wear colour, let's celebrate spring. There also is another trend that you're rocking, is the Barbie core trend, so the Margot Robbie movie coming out, we're seeing so much pink. Valentino's show was pink, 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 pink everywhere today, so pink will be another big thing. And the power suit continues to be a strong, but this season the power suits become more slouchy, a bit more oversized, a bit more relaxed, you can fit more in that waistband, which is good.
I just think it's going to be a great time. There's a lot of lovely people around. We're raising money for a great cause, and just to have a lot of fun. And you know, the biggest thing is really spreading the awareness and putting the name out there for Spinal Cure Australia.
How is your household feeling ahead of the 15th of October? Because we heard from Hugh this week and he said he's very cool, calm and collected.
Yeah, he is that way, but I can't tell you that I'm that way. I still get so nervous, but yeah, you know, it's very exciting to be part of such a huge special event.
This Everest Carnival, what do you think it's done for racing here in Sydney? Because now we are going through all the way to mid-November.
Well, it has lifted New South Wales racing dramatically. I mean, this is huge, and in just a few short years to get the Everest to be a must-attend event is extraordinary. It's hard to get Sydney-siders out of the house, particularly in the rain. So what they have done, Peter Volandis and the gang have done in a few short years is amazing. The whole carnival is brilliant. People want to be part of it. The big dance on Melbourne Cup Day is going to be huge.
It's the hottest ticket in town. I've recently come back from London and I went to Royal Ascot, and all everybody wanted to hear about was the Everest. I think the prize money and the excitement of the race and Nick Chironi's beautiful trophy, which is the most beautiful trophy in the world, it all adds to the glamour and excitement. And after the lockdown with COVID, we're back.
Of course, the countdown is on to the 2022 Tapp Everest. Who are you liking in this year's field?
Well, I hate to be boring, but I have to say Nature Strip. I mean, he is just so spectacular. I'd love him to do it again. And we did go to Ascot and watch him race in England. I mean, he is the best in the world now, we can say that. And I think he'll come through with the goods.
Without being biased, do you like his chances in this year's Everest?
I do, secretly. Shh, don't tell anybody. Yeah, I do. I really do. I'm very excited.
And comfort is key because it's a long day at the track.
You really have to think about your full day. Not your first hour, your first 2 hours. How are you going to get through that 8-hour day? It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Welcome back to Racing Dreams. It is a pleasure to have your company on this Saturday morning where the countdown is well and truly underway until the 2022 Tapp Everest. What makes it really interesting each and every year is the timing of these slot holders and the decisions which they make. So at the moment we have 11 horses in this field with one slot remaining. That does belong to Godolphin, so of course they will go with one of their own runners. They do have options ahead, but they are running out of time, so we're expecting to hear from the Godolphin camp probably around Monday on who they have gone with for this year's Everest. Now, one man who has every reason to be excited is lost and running trainer John O'Shea, who joins me live. Good morning to you, Mr. O'Shea.
Good morning, Julie. How are you?
I am well. More importantly, how are you? 1 week out from the Tapp Everest, how is Team Lost and Running faring?
Yeah, well, so far we wouldn't change a great deal, and you know, obviously he put up a good performance last week, and we're really looking forward to the next 7 days and hopefully getting to the race 100% and giving the best account of himself that he can.
Let's take a look at that. The Premier Stakes last week, it was on a heavy 8. He had to cover some extra ground, make a wide run. It was some effort by him last week.
No, it was, because he had to make a long run. He ended up getting behind a horse that was going to take him nowhere, and then the horse to beat sort of got an inside run and shot clear, and so Hugh had to get on his bike. And so probably just with 100 to go, just probably condition gave out, which is understandable. He was only second up on heavy ground, but he was able to get the job done, which was very rewarding for everyone.
And how did he pull up after that run?
He put on 2 kilos, Julie, so that's usually a good sign. He's enjoying himself. He's a really happy horse at home at the minute, and you know, we're having a bit of trouble keeping the weight off him, to be fair. But he's a really happy horse, and really looking forward to the next 7 days.
Well, if it makes him feel any better, John, I'm exactly the same. You were a very happy trainer after that race. It was so lovely to see. Big smile on your face, chatting to Mr. Radley. There's some vision to prove it as well. How did you feel just, 2 weeks out from the big one?
Well, look, it was very relieving to win. It's a big race, obviously $1 million race, and he was favourite, so it was just more relief, I think. And then we can just go into the Everest relaxed, knowing that we're on target and we can have a good week. You know, he'll run a really good race, and you know, obviously we're very respectful of our opponents, particularly Nature Strip and what he's achieved. But you know, if Lost and Running gets a little bit of luck in the race, well, there's no doubting he can keep him busy.
All right, well, there was also a very happy jockey. We caught up with Hugh Bowman earlier in the week, so let's take a quick listen to what he had to say.
Really calm about it this year, really confident that Lost and Running is going to run a peak performance. I thought the heavy track really tested him in the final 100 metres. I thought he was going to win more dominantly than he did, but I sensed it on the line. He was holding everyone at bay comfortably, and that's enough for me to suggest he's right on track to run a peak performance in the Everest. Going to a race like this with a serious winning chance, there's no better feeling in racing. The anticipation, the excitement, everyone getting involved. I'm sure on game day we'll get there, and the emotion and the adrenaline, and you can feel it. The Everest crowd is like none other that I've ridden in front of anywhere in the world, and to get there on the day, I'm sure we'll start to bubble on the day, but up till then it's business as usual for Hugh Bowman.
Is Hugh Bowman anything other than calm normally?
No, he's really. It's fantastic to have him on these, big races on your big horses, and because you just go there with so much confidence. We trust every decision that he makes, and he's such a seasoned professional at this level now. It just takes away all that, doubt in yourself that we're not going to get the best opportunity in the race, and so we don't discuss a lot pre-race. Hugh's got an understanding of the horse, and it's just we go there and enjoy the day. Wish Hugh all the best, and we know that he'll give us 100%.
Last year you were adamant this gelding would only get better in his second year of the Everest. Do you feel like that's still the case? Is that what your gut's telling you at this stage?
Yeah, he's definitely going significantly better going into this year's race than last year's race, and there's no reason why he won't continue to improve over the next 12 months. So he's only lightly raced. He's a very sound conveyance, touch wood at the moment, and it's reflecting in his performances.
We're only one horse away from a full field for this year's Everest. Nature Strip has been the clear favourite. But who do you think the dark horse is in this field? Because it isn't a one-horse race. You've got the best sprinters in the land.
No, it's a very strong version of the Everest. And, I watched Eduardo's trial yesterday. I thought it was very, very good. He's probably a forgotten horse. And, the 3-year-old Jacquino was sensational the other day, winning at Rose Hill. So, there's some really different form lines and horses that are going particularly well, right at the peak of their powers. Joe Pride won with a horse down the straight at Flemington the other day, put up a really big performance. So, he's another horse that's got the right profile to run well in an Everest.
Well, just quickly looking at today's racing, you've got runners everywhere. Among them, Benno has his first Melbourne start in Caulfield, and we are about to catch up with the wonderful Johnny Tapp. You've also got Zoo Tiger as favourite in the inaugural at Tapp. Craig, how's he looking?
Well, unfortunately, we're going to pull him out. It's just going to be too wet for him, Julie. So it's disappointing because it would give me no greater thrill in racing than to win a race named in honour of Johnny Tapp. But we just thought we'd err on the side of caution with him. He's got a big race in 2 weeks, and we'd hopefully get there with a better surface and give him an opportunity to run there.
Well, as I said, you do have runners here, there and everywhere. Thank you very much for your time this morning. What does this week look like for you and the family? The family getting back on board this whole Everest thing. I know they enjoy the fanfare around all the week's activities.
Yeah, no, we've got a pretty busy week, to be fair. So we're just trying to pace ourselves. We get to the races, fresh and ready to go on the Saturday. All the family's going to be there. Obviously, my wife Isabel's very excited, and so too are the other owners. So we're just going to lap it all up and enjoy the ride.
Enjoy it. You deserve it. Let's hope we see that big smile back in your face this time next week. Well, maybe at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, we're definitely... I'll be a very, very happy man if we're able to get it done, Julie.
All right. Thanks, John. We'll see you soon.
Cheers now.
Well, next Saturday, 3-year-old Morris gelding Marzu will start in the richest race on turf. In our first series of Racing Dreams about 3 years ago, Arrowfield's John Masara told us to watch out for the rise of Japanese horses. Timmy caught up with John at the beautiful Arrowfield stud in Scone, where Morris still stands today.
Well, there he is, the beast from the east. He's a beautiful looking animal. Morris, of course, a phenomenal racehorse, John, and now doing an amazing job in the breeding barn.
Well, the early signs are there with Mazu and Hitotsu, two exceptional animals, one of which is going to run in the Everest in a couple of weeks' time, and the others won 2 derbies and a Guineas, and a vast number of other winners from these first couple of crops. So, yeah, we're very excited about him.
Yeah, let's put a bit of context around him because he was such a strong racehorse with this phenomenal bursting finish.
Yeah, exceptional things did he do when he was racing, indicative of a big heart and a great set of lungs, you know. He'd catch up a field of, in Group 1 standard, being, I don't know, 15, 20 lengths behind them at some stage. So a massive finishing burst, turn of foot, call it what you like. And we're seeing good performances like him, but not quite as good as him yet, from some of his progeny. So it looks very hopeful that he's going to reproduce himself.
But you said to me very early on, and you'd only just begun to shuttle the horses across from Japan. You said, you watch this, just watch this space. And it's been fascinating to watch the storyline open up.
He's been the first of these to really strike now in Australia. We've had a few, and they've all produced winners and stakes winners, but this one is operating at the very commercial end of the marketplace and rewarding us amply. He's got a very full book of mares this year. He stands at a fee of $75,000, which is not inconsequential, and he's very, very popular.
The Broadway act at the moment is Mazu, and you have a slot in the Everest, and you've decided, you've taken the step to say, well, we don't want him just for 2022, but we'll take him for 2 years because he's a young horse in contrast to Nature Strip and Eduardo and a lot of the others who are and have been the #1 sprinters in the country.
Absolutely. We identified him as a sprinter with great potential. He's just 4, and he's had a handful of starts. He's not a heavily raced horse. He's a gelding now. He was playful as a younger horse. They gelded him, and that added another dimension to him. His behaviour improved, and that's made him far more competitive. And now he's competing at the very highest levels. He won a Group 1 race in the winter in Queensland, a Group 1 sprint.
On Trivier coming home late as well, but Mazu's in front from Paolele. Paolele, Mazu's won the 10,000 from Paolele on Trivier, followed by Senor.
And he's heading towards the Everest, and I think he's going to be in the mix somewhere. But we did do a 2-year deal with the owners of Mazu because I felt that if he didn't do it this year, he might well do it next year. He's a young horse for a sprinter, and with another year's development and maturity, he'll certainly be a force to be reckoned with next year if he stays sound. But this year, I haven't altogether given up. I think he's going to be somewhere in the finish.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's quite appropriate. There he is, there's his father, and the land of the rising sun. It would be extraordinary if he won the Everest.
Well, to get a son of Morris, who was a miler himself, got stretched to 2,000 metres to win the top sprint in Australia and against some of the best horses, sprint horses in the world, that would be an outstanding result and shows the versatility of the stallion and of Japanese racing.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Stay with us. Coming up after the break, we speak with legendary race caller Johnny Tapp as a new race is named in his honour. That's coming up on Racing Dreams. Welcome back to Racing Dreams with all the latest markets from PointsBet. It's a big good morning to you, Daisy Thomas.
Good morning to you, Jules. What about this? Spring racing certainly starting to heat up. Again, though, I can't believe this is actually still happening. What is going on with the weather up in Sydney? Absolutely outrageous there. Still on a complete bog track, but a couple of features on the card nonetheless. The first one we'll have a look at is the Silver Eagle. It's a big field, good competitive field assembled in this one. And there has been a handful of scratchings in this one. The biggest, of course, Espiona coming out this morning. So 7-cent deductions on your win and 8 cents across your place betting. Mr. Mozart, now your favourite. Went up earlier in the week at $4.20. That was snaffled up into $3.40. Really well found there. Waterford, $5. Villani there at $7. Really well found. As a Star Tonte's there, $7.50. Lavish Girl's been a touch easy out to the $9.50 quote. Luck Eagle there at $11. Also in the market. Kiss Some, interesting runner. Doesn't mind the wet track, $14. And a lot of money coming in and around the place betting there at $3.80. So that shapes up to be a really competitive running of the Silver Eagle. We speak about Randwick being a bog track. Well, it's sunny Melbourne here today, if you can believe that. It absolutely hosed down yesterday, but it's going to be massive racing here at Caulfield. 7 of the 10 races on the card are at group level. So if we roll across and we have a look at the first of those races, that being, of course, the Might and Power, this is going to be an absolute cracker. Animo goes up your favourite there at $2.35 and has been rock solid. Zaki, beaten in this race last year, was as short as $1.28 and went down. Punters not really forgiving that runner out to $4.40. I'm Thunderstruck, rock solid there, $6.50. What a campaign they're putting together with that horse. Alligator Blood's been a touch easy, out to $7. Moanga, Mr. Brightside, they've had a little bit of support. And then Beno and Nonconformist have been somewhat friendless down the bottom of the page. The next one, the Caulfield Guineas on Guineas Day. What a race this will be. Has been a good race for the punters as well. 3 out of the last 4 years, the favourites have won. So Golden Miles goes up your favourite there. James Cummings looking for back-to-back wins after Animo won this race last year. Berkeley Square really well found to try and beat the favourite there at $4.50. Tijuana there, $8 and well found. Amenable, slightly easy. Osipenko down the bottom of the page there, $17 in from a $25 quote. So that has been really well found. But the punters pretty happy with Golden Mile up the top of the page. The last one we'll have a look at, and the last of the Group 1s on the card here at Caulfield, is the Toorak Handicap. 8 of the last 11 winners have paid single-figure odds in this one. So for punters up the top of the page there's only 2 of them. I Wish I Win, really well supported, found there at $2.40. I mean, rock solid. 75% of all bets coming on this race have been for that runner. Tuvalu there, $8.50 has been well found as well. And then from there's some real value. Gentleman Roy, we know his racing pattern. He'll go straight to the top. So if it is a leader bias there, expect that $10 to be snaffled up. But punters in that one, very happy to have a piece of I Wish I Win. If you are going to have a bet today, of course, head across to the App Store, download the PointsBet app, now featuring racing.com form analysis. Get expert tips, race previews, form factors on that app. The best in the business it is. Jules, if you are going to have a bet, as always, please remember to gamble responsibly. And my favourite saying in this game, back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Daisy. Who would have thought we would ever be jealous of the weather in Melbourne? But that is indeed the case here in Sydney at the moment. Well, race 6 at Randwick today has been named in honour of the legendary race callers John Tapp and Ian Craig. And I am so pleased to be joined by one of the gents now. It is a very good morning to you, Johnny Tapp. How are you?
Good morning, Julie. Thanks for having me on your wonderful program.
Oh, thank you so much for joining me. I've been looking forward to this interview all day. Unfortunately, I only have minutes with you. I could sit down for hours with you. But tell me, how does it feel to have a race named in your honour?
A little bit eerie, Julie, and thank goodness they're on. It would have been one hell of an anti-climax had Randwick been lost to the weather. Albeit a very, very heavy track. The race has been reduced in numbers by 4, including Zoo Tiger, who would have run a very short price favourite. I'm disappointed he's not running. I was looking forward to watching him again. He is a horse who is on the rise very clearly and rapidly, and I think he's got some sort of a future, even though he's not there today.
Well, nonetheless, you do have a name a race named after you now. It is a new 1,400 metre, $500,000 lead up to the Calendar Presnell race on October 22 in honour of your mates Ken Calendar and Max Presnell as well. And you worked right alongside each other. So it must be very special to have Racing New South Wales acknowledge you in this way.
It certainly is. I spent a lot of time with Kenny Calendar in the old Channel 9 Wide World of Sports days. We worked together on race meetings in Sydney for well over 20 years. He and Max are among the doyens of racing journalism in this country, and I'm delighted to see them honoured in a similar way that Ian Craig and I have been honoured today. And Ian and I, it goes without saying, Julie, are not only gobsmacked, we're indeed humbled and very thrilled.
Well, Sky Racing ran a beautiful program side by side with Ian and yourself recently. And you said during that program that this isn't just a tribute to yourself, but it's also a tribute to race callers as a profession.
Yes, I feel very deeply about that one. Some of the legends of yesteryear, people like Des Hoisted, Ken Howard, Bill Collins, Bert Bryant, and many others. I feel that, in a way, Ian and I are able to pay them a quiet, personal little tribute by virtue of the running of this race at Randwick today.
Why was calling at Royal Randwick so special to you above any other track?
Our broadcast position was outstanding. We had a lot of altitude. I think we were 200 feet above the ground in the old language. We had a magnificent angle right on the winning post. You could be fairly confident in the closest of photo finishes. But above all, Randwick has a history and an atmosphere that no other track in New South Wales can boast. All of the great ones raced at Randwick at some stage of their careers. Way back to Carbine, Farlap, Burnborough, Tulloch, Kingston Town, and many, many others. Every time I called at Randwick, I could feel their presence.
As you so eloquently put in the program, the ghosts of the greats. Now let's move into today. What do you make of the Spring Carnival now here in Sydney? It is worth a staggering $66 million. We are home to the best trainers, the best jockeys and the best sprinters in the land.
It's an absolute smorgasbord for horse lovers and for racing fans alike. The prize money is absolutely mind-boggling. Julie, it's a pity that every participant can't get a little piece of it. I'd love to see every person, trainers, owners and jockeys who hold a licence in New South Wales. I simply wish they could get a horse good enough to participate at that level.
It is something extraordinary. I know we don't have a full field just yet. We've got one slot remaining. What do you make of this year's Everest? And do you think Nature Strip, Chris Waller and James McDonald can do it again?
The horse has been beautifully managed, perfectly trained. His win in the King's Stand Stakes at Royal Ascot in June indicated that he is world class, and his win at Randwick last Saturday week indicates that he is, I believe, every bit as good as he was this time last year. Rain, hail or shine, Nature Strip will be effective. And, barrier positions are going to play a part. There'll be a lot of speed in the race, Julie, with horses like Shades of Rose and Overpass. They'll be up there annoying the likes of Eduardo. So Nature Strip is going to get a perfect run right in behind those leaders. And it will take a world-class sprinter to beat Nature Strip in this year's Everest.
Indeed. Well, Johnny Tapp, it is always a pleasure to talk to you. I wish we had longer. Thank you so much for your time and congratulations again on the naming and the soon running of the inaugural The Tapp, Craig. We're very happy for you.
Thank you for your kind comments, Julie, and thank you for having me on Racing Dreams.
Well, stay with us. Our country tracks are the heart and soul of Racing New South Wales. This year there has been a record investment and support for our regional neighbours through the likes of the Cozzy and of course now the Big Dance as well. During his recent road trip to the Central Tablelands, Tim caught up with two women who are very proud at the state of racing in this state of New South Wales.
So Michelle, you've been General Manager of the club here for 10 years. How proud are you on a day like today to see so many people getting around the big Bathurst Cup Day?
Oh look, it's just a fantastic feeling. This day has grown and grown over the last 3 years, particularly since moving it to the Spring Carnival. Bathurst Cup is one of our iconic days and it's just lovely that it's all come together so well.
What about some of these innovations for Racing New South Wales? How much have they helped Bathurst?
Oh look, that is pivotal, and the support that Racing New South Wales give our regional clubs is just, is fundamental to our success on the day, and we couldn't be more grateful. I mean, it means that we can put on a really good day, and to have, the Big Dance eligibility for our Bathurst Cup, it's just profound, and it has a great impact on the day.
What are you hearing from locals in the industry about how some of these innovations have helped?
Oh look, they're really positive about the changes that are being made, and I think it gives them a really good platform in which to go about what they love doing, their core business of training horses, owning horses.
We've had a number of innovations over the last number of years that Racing New South Wales have brought into the state, into country racing and also of course into provincial and into the metropolitan area. We're very proud of them. We really think that innovation is critical to our success and to growth at Racing New South Wales, so we're very, very, very proud.
How important is country and regional racing for Racing New South Wales?
Oh, it's huge. The Bathurst Cup is huge. It has a long history. There's community get behind it, just as they do all of the other country cups, and it's a big day in the community. It's fantastic. As you can see, a number of people have come out to enjoy the weather and to really get behind it, so it's a really great day.
And of course, it hasn't been easy, has it? Been some very, very tough times for people in country areas. We've seen droughts and, of course, the terrible floods.
Absolutely. At the moment, as you know, there's flooding. There's a lot of rain. A lot of our meetings have had to be moved or postponed or cancelled. And prior to that, of course, the drought really affected many of the tracks in our state. The lovely thing, I suppose, is, first of all, Racing New South Wales have really been committed to supporting those clubs that are missing out and to getting behind them. But equally, clubs are putting their hand up to help each other.
You must be very proud being a member of a country area to see things like this, to see incentives and initiatives that really help.
Absolutely. If you look at the Everest, the Kosciuszko, the Golden Eagle, now the Big Dance, there's been a number of them, and we've really been working hard to continually innovate in our state to make sure that racing in New South Wales is absolutely as good as it can be.
Welcome back to Racing Dreams. The Golden Eagle is now worth $10 million, making it the second richest race on turf. But it's what this race contributes away from the track that really makes the difference. When Hugh Bowman and I'm Thunderstruck stormed home last year, they also helped donate $410,000 to Camp Quality. This week, Hugh caught up with some of those kids.
Unique opportunity to bring together our families and kids facing cancer, a chance for them to build resistance, create some happy memories together. It's giving them opportunities to have fun, make positive memories and have a break away from cancer.
It's a great day to get everyone out here on the track to enjoy something really special and get to walk the course with Hugh, which is an experience that not many people will ever get to do. The Golden Eagle is a really unique race concept that sees 10% of the $10 million in prize money go to charities. These charities are selected by the trainers and owners before the race is run, so it is really important for Racing New South Wales and the racing community. All of these charities have people involved who are facing some really difficult times, and we want to do as much as we can to support them.
All round racing's a pretty generous group of people, but the Golden Eagle just takes it one step further. But it was an amazing atmosphere. Great to see Rose Hill out in the west fill. The stands fill for another race day, not just the Golden Slipper, not just the Golden Rose, but another reason to come to the races, and for the right reasons, obviously charity being the forefront.
To see the horse that I won on supporting a charity looking after young children that, you know, need a bit of assistance is, for me personally, felt very, very good. But when you get here and you get on ground level and let's call it the coal face and you actually meet the kids and see what has been done for them, it makes it very real. And I'm just really humbled by it. One young lady, she did tell me that she heard of Hugh Bowman and that he rode a horse called Winx. And then after about 15 minutes, she realised I was Hugh Bowman, and the smile on her face was priceless.
Oh, such a beautiful day and for such a wonderful cause. Well, it is Silver Eagle Day at Royal Randwick today with a 10 race card scheduled. Let's bring in our resident racing expert, Brad Gray. Good morning to you, Brad, live from Inglis, Riverside.
I am. Good morning to you, Julie. You're cutting a very lonely figure on the desk there without Tim, so I thought maybe I could buy you a horse to keep you a bit of company if you want. I'll front you, and then you can just transfer me the balance. How about that?
I was going to say, you can buy me a horse. You could absolutely buy me a horse.
Yeah.
Look, let's get straight into it. It is a bit of a forecast to be a bit of a soggy day this afternoon for Silver Eagle Day. Of course, we have had an extraordinary amount of rain here in Sydney over the past week. What is the latest on the track conditions? How's it looking at the moment?
Yep, so we're a heavy 10, and the heavy 10 is as heavy as you can get. So we go through the ratings and it's on the worst side. So at the moment we're racing, which is the biggest plus, because if you asked me on Thursday, even yesterday morning, I would have been 50-50 as opposed to whether we're on or not. So as we look at the skies now, we look okay. Dare I suggest the best part or the worst part of the rain isn't forecast till probably 5 or 6 o'clock, so later in the meeting. So if we get rain on the day, that's always a query in terms of safety. But at the moment, fingers crossed, we are going to get through the conditions. You're going to be looking for your horses that have the snorkel and the flippers on, though. You're looking for those horses that absolutely love the mud.
Yeah, and we're seeing a few scratchings as well. Let's get straight into it. Race 4, the Roman Consul Stakes. Who are you liking?
Yeah, I like Willinga Beast in this race. So the filly, we've seen the fillies really put their hand up all throughout this crop. We saw it at 2, we've seen it at 3 with In Secret running such a good race there in the Golden Rose a couple of weeks ago. So Willinga Beast, I like the drop back from the 14 to the 1200 metres, given it is going to be a testing surface. Just camps in behind the speed, and I do like the blinkers going on for the first time. So I think we're around that $5 mark. Willinga Beast, I think she's really hard to beat.
Race 7, the Gloaming Stakes for the 3-year-olds over 1800.
Yeah, I want to go a little bit wide in this race. So Stylised is a horse that's coming through the midweek, so it still hasn't been at this level yet, but it's only had the 2 starts. It was a good winner there the last time we saw him at the races. He does have to make a big leap forward, but I think we're getting about $15 or $16. So if you're watching the races today, make sure you have a look at him in the yard, because he's a really good sort, and I think he's going to go on and do things. He's trained by James Cummings, so he's in the right camp to make that leap, and I think we want to get him on the way through before too many people notice him.
Race 8, of course, is the $1 million Silver Eagle, which this is a crucial qualifier for the $10 million Golden Eagle. It's a really strong field that we've got lined up this year.
Yeah, it is a good field. I think this is a race that's just taken a few years to get into the trainers' minds in terms of this is the race you want to use to get into the Golden Eagle for those horses that aren't quite at that level yet. So we've seen the Golden Eagle in the past. You want to be at about that benchmark 100 level to guarantee a start. This is the backdoor entry, because the top 3 here in the Silver Eagle get exemption into the Golden Eagle. So you see horses like Lock Eagle, Waterford, they're looking to use this as a bit of a catapult into that race. So as far as a tip goes in the race, I am with Mr. Mozart. He's really well placed here for Team Hawkes. You've got Brenton Avdulla in the saddle. Yes, the barrier looks a bit scary on paper, but I think it suits him. He's drawn wide, he'll come across in his own time, settle. He's only raced 3 times in the past on wet tracks, and he's won all 3 of them. I thought his first up run was a beauty, and I think he's very hard to beat today, as the market does suggest with Mr. Mozart.
And race 9, the Furphy Yank Stakes. Who are you liking?
Yeah, so the Ank Stakes, that's a tissues race. So this is for the mares, typically open mares. The stablemate is the favourite at the moment, Polly Gray. She loves wet tracks, but I am with a tissue. I think she's got that little fitness advantage. If she can jump clean and put herself somewhere in the position where she's within striking distance, I think she's going to be very hard to beat. A tissue for Chris Waller.
All right, let's bring the graphic up now. What race does your best bet come in today?
Nice and early for me, race 2, Cote. Now, this is a horse that had absolutely no luck in Midway Company the last time we saw him at the races. I think they take bad luck out of the equation today. Looks the only leader in the race. They'll go forward, and I think he'll win from in front. If you're looking for a roughie, I know the punters out there do love their roughies. We did touch on one a little bit earlier in the way of stylised in the gloaming, but another one is race 5, Charlize, for John O'Shea. So I did note that you spoke to John a little bit earlier. I think he's got this mare exactly where he wants her first up today, Charlize.
All right, well, before we let you go, of course, this time in a week we'll be trackside at Royal Randwick ahead of the Tapp Everest. We still have one slot remaining, Godolphin. They have a decision to make in the next few days. We're expecting that on Monday. Which way do you think they'll go?
I think they'll go with Kementari, Special K. Who would have thought that we were talking about a horse that was so maligned in the middle of his career. He burst onto the scene. He was a really good sort. He went to stud. He failed at stud. Here he is, and there's every chance that he's racing in the richest race on turf, Special K. He loves it wet, so I know Godolphin will sit down there on Monday morning, as they always do each and every week. Their round table discussion, and they'll come to terms in terms of which horse they think is best suited. But if this rain hangs around, I think Kementari might take that final position for the Everest there, Jules.
And of course, just a few days ago, we had these guys on the show earlier as well. Private Eye, he was snapped up by Inglis after that sensational run at the weekend.
Yeah, and why not? He put his hand up there, didn't he? He was outstanding down the straight. They went to Melbourne, they dodged the wet track, and they were rewarded with putting him on the radar. And all of a sudden, Inglis had an opening, and there he was, just sidling straight in. So you look at the makeup of this year's Everest, and there's going to be a lot of speed on paper, and he's one of those horses that'll get out the back, but he's going to be really strong through the line. So I imagine that's part of the reason why they chose Private Eye. And as long as the track is on the better side of soft, he's going to run a race. Yeah, he's not making up the numbers.
All right, Brad, well, you're at Warwick Farm today for the ready-to-race sales for Inglis. Happy shopping on my behalf. Please select a good one. This time next week, we will see you at Royal Randwick for the Tapp Everest.
Looking forward to it. I'll have to put the suit in to get dry cleaned, and yes, I'll cast my eye on a couple there behind me, Jules, and I'll pick the fastest one for you. All
right, look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, Brad. As always, thank you to our great sponsors, Racing New South Wales, Arrowfield and PointsBet. My mate Timmy will be back with me next week. We are live next Saturday at Royal Randwick ahead of the running of the 2022 Tapp Everest. We cannot wait. We'll see you then.